Welcome to the Black on Shelf podcast, a podcast championing Black and Brown entrepreneurs on the digital and physical shelves. I'm your host, Tanaj Ferguson. This is Black on Shelf. How I usually love to get started is just telling people how I landed on a brand. And for you, you literally, are you coming up on 2 years now?
Yeah, we launched 2019. Yeah, we a little over 2 years old now. Yep.
Wow. When is your anniversary? When's the business 2 year anniversary?
We already passed it. We didn't.
So actually you're more than two. You're 2.
Yeah, we're a little over 2 years old. Yeah.
That's
we
amazing.
officially launched in the March of 2019.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, we get to talk to you about Real Paper. You're 2 years in and growing. You're starting to emerge. So some people still have no idea yet what Real is. And that's why I'm so excited to be talking to you, Derin, at this point in your growth, because you actually are, at the time we're recording this, you're growing in a rapid way. You know, you're growing really fast. We'll talk to you. We'll look at you in another few months and see that expansion, the results of what you're doing now. But because you're such a behind the scenes guy that, like we talked about before the podcast, this is why I want to have you on Black on Shelf podcast. The Boss Fam needs to know who's behind this sustainability toilet paper and paper towel brand. And you really get to love the brand as much as I am, and getting excited by the fact that as a Black brand, we're emerging into a category that you don't traditionally see Black and brown brands. Yeah. So I want you to talk to us about your background. It is an interesting one, so I can't wait to get into it. We're going to start off there and then get into some of the origin story of Real Paper.
Yeah, definitely. Super nice to be on here. Thanks for the invite, and congratulations on the launch of your podcast as well.
Thank you.
That's a major accomplishment. So my background, I grew up in Lagos, Nigeria. Son of...
No, they carry last. That's all I know to say.
We know they carry last.
We know they carry last.
Yeah, we don't believe in coming last. It's okay to come second to last, but never last. I'm one of 4 kids. Both my parents were doctors, so kind of grew up in a, like most Africans do, in a household where education was massive. Like It wasn't optional. You had to go to school. You had to go to college. So I went to college, got my degree in electrical engineering, but kind of knew I never really wanted to be an engineer because the lifestyle or just the professional environment didn't really suit my personality.
You're African, so you were like, I could be a doctor, lawyer, or engineer. I'm gonna be an engineer and then do what I want to do.
It's the shortest amount of schooling, right? So
right.
I went with the easiest route. I was good enough in math to be able to graduate with an electrical engineering degree from San Jose State. After that, I kind of fell into internet marketing. This was back in end of 2001, early 2002. I was up north. My older brother was out here in LA. I didn't know what I was gonna do, so I was just hanging out with him, and so loved LA. I'm gonna stay here, so I gotta find a job. So fell into internet marketing. At the very early days, this was even before Facebook was a thing. So ended up working for the company
really early
that started MySpace. So I was there when MySpace was concepted. That's
really cool.
When it was incubated, and just to kind of see it grow, like really exposed me to the potential of, really what the power of the internet and how you could quickly grow brands and really reach a massive amount of people. Kind of went through the digital marketing route, worked at agencies, different marketing companies, honed my skills, learning all the different digital tactics. Then I got the entrepreneurial itch a little over 10 years ago now. Started as a consultant, then launched my first e-commerce enterprise, a brand called Jewel Scent. It was a scented candle brand back in the day. So it was, I don't know if you ever saw it. It was one of those candles that had hidden jewelry in them.
I've seen that before.
Yeah, so we were one of the first to kind of launch that. So that was a business that grew very quickly. It was, my first success as a kind of direct to consumer entrepreneur. We grew
Hmm.
that business from zero to $1 million in 6 months. And like, wow,
Crazy.
it's amazing what you can do with the internet. So from there, I kind of, I exited out of that
Okay,
business.
I was just gonna ask, are you still doing Jewel? You're not doing Jewel
No,
anymore.
I exited out of it. I'm still, one of the my co-founder in it is still running it.
Okay.
Is a good friend of mine. Um, Consulted a bunch of different brands, learned about mobile marketing,
Mm-hmm.
and then started my second venture was as I said a consultancy called Three Comma Digital with a few other people. Consulting business, not quite as it's always challenging because you have to constantly recruit clients, you lose clients, but when able to make it work. I mean, I guess what I'm trying to get to here is, as an entrepreneur, there's always going to be wins and misses. It's not,
Yeah.
you're not batting home runs all the time. Like
Yeah.
sometimes you
Well, you're
strike
getting
out.
skills, right? You're getting skills the whole time. That's what you were
Exactly.
doing.
You learn how to run businesses. You learn about different
Mhm.
aspects of businesses. I
Yeah.
understood marketing. I learned about operations. I learned about business development. And even till this day, I'm still learning. I take
Yeah.
courses on Harvard Business School online all the time. Like I'm
Hmm.
always trying to be a better leader, better man.
Forever learner.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of have to have that mentality.
Hmm.
So from there, I ended up the real opportunity came up. A mutual friend of mine and my co-founders had introduced.
How do you meet these people?
It's a network. Like if you are in an industry long enough,
Hmm.
you know people. And
Yes, definitely.
fortunately, I think I have a good reputation in the industry here in LA, so people refer me out for different things, and I try
That's a
to
good thing. That's
I
great
try I try
ability.
to pay for it as well whenever I can, and
Hmm.
that to me that's what networking is all about.
Yeah.
So it it introduced me to my partner Livio. Livio started a kind of an incubator called Green Park Brands, where they were
Mm.
going to try to build sustainability focused, good for you, good for the earth type brands. And Livio, had the original concept for real. I was originally going to consult with him on it. We started talking, we just clicked and we had complementary skill sets. Livio's is good at brand building, is good at, getting investors excited about
Yeah.
things. And I'm really good at taking ditzy concepts, taking them off the ground and getting them to like a
You're the
million.
execution guy.
I get it done.
Hmm.
I get it going. So we partnered up and we refined the concept. Our goal with Real and what resonated with me was the mission, specifically the mission aspect of it. Growing up in Lagos and really going all over Nigeria, Africa, and seeing people defecating outside. I'm not saying everywhere because I hate it when we present it that way, like everyone's
Yeah.
using the bathroom outside. But there are people, who live in squalor and just seeing how that affects their outcomes. Just being in a position to be part of a company that what as part of its ethos gave back and was kind of built into what we did. Like every time we sell something, we try to kind of pay for it and help others who are not doing well and tackle this global issue of lack of access to sanitation.
Yeah.
So we partnered with a nonprofit out of Haiti called Soil, and
Hmm.
they are out there doing really amazing work. Their website is oursoil.org. They are, building composting toilets. So, the biggest problem with sanitation is just
The
um,
waste.
the waste with toilets is the sanitation system. There's
Hmm.
no good sanitation system in most developing or third world countries. So they build this toilet where the waste is collected at the bottom. It doesn't it's waterless. They capture the waste, they treat the waste, they turn it into fertilizer. So it's kind of
Mm.
this whole circular system. And that was something when I heard about it was just amazing. I'm all you turn in something that is potentially harmful into something useful. So we wanted to be a part of that. So we partnered with them, and a portion of every single sale of Real actually goes to supporting
So
that mission.
That's awesome.
So from the as far as the business itself, like we launched March of 2019. People were
What was
like,
that conversation like with Olivia going from you love kind of his initial vision and you came in and you guys were kind of adding value to each other and
yeah,
scaling it up, two people come together, the idea gets a little bigger or clearer. What
yeah.
was some of those initial conversations like that led you to this period of time? And we'll get into all the success that's happening, but talk to us about actually you find someone, and this is a great learning moment for the boss fam, the Black on Shell family. You find someone who complements your skills and you can trust to grow something with. What do those conversations sound like?
I mean, ultimately, it's about you have to vibe with the person, right? Because at that point, it's all leap of faith. Like we have each other's resumes. I know what he had done. He knew what I had done. So from a technical skills perspective, it made sense. We knew
Yeah.
we had what it took to make it happen. But now, I mean, is this someone I want to be? Do I think I can be in the trenches with this person?
Yeah.
Because a big part of being an entrepreneur is lonely. It's I don't know. I mean, it's I sometimes I'm like I wouldn't wish this on anyone because there's like some moments where you're like, what can I even, excuse my language, talk to about this stuff? Like it's like you're having bad days, like everything, the whole world seems to be stacked against you. But I mean, it's always better to do with a partner. I know there's a lot
Mhm.
of solopreneurs out there and I commend them. Like I don't think I could be one because it's I just need someone to be able to vent to and someone who
Yeah.
understands what I'm going through and someone and that camaraderie to just drive things forward. So I mean, ultimately, it was a leap of faith.
Yeah.
I believed it was the right person to partner with, and I think it
Yeah.
felt the same way, and
How
we
do you,
went for.
I'm curious, how do you know someone is as committed as you are, or were you both were you both thinking it would have the same impact? Were you both aligned with the vision that
I
it
think
could be?
we're aligned in terms of the values of the brand
Okay.
and what we're trying to do,
Hmm.
and so it was always about the mission. It was always about building a platform that was sustainable. It was always about the customers. We don't want to. It wasn't. I mean, obviously, we're in it to make money, but
Hmm.
it's not profits. It's not profits over people. Like
Right.
people matter significantly in this equation. The
Yeah.
team we hired, the customers we're serving, the people we helping through our charitable contributions. It was very people centric, and I can tell you instances of where along our journey so far we've put people before
Yeah.
profit. So
We'll
yeah,
definitely get into that too.
yeah.
That's a good that would be a good example as folks realize, you can be a budding company and you want to actually show those roots and those foundations. You want to live that every day, even when
Yep.
you're at that size, because you don't instantly grow and suddenly have true roots. You don't suddenly have these pillars that's important. You build those as you grow. From the
Yeah.
beginning of your brand, you want to exude those things, and as you grow, you want to live those out even more in bigger ways with the resources you have.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. I think it's important. It's actually, I mean, I know starting out, like you're very profit minded and you want to generate cash, but the things that will separate you from the pack in whatever industry you're in or whatever are those values, or like, and that's what makes the hard times easier too, because you doing it for something bigger than yourself for the
Yeah.
most part. So
Hmm.
yeah.
Now, with Real, were you already a pretty social minded or even environmental guy? What part of it that kind of did you learn through the business and by really stepping into it even more and exuding it for yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I mean, as any entrepreneur will tell you, timing is everything, right? So my
Mhm.
last few ventures, even prior to Real, like, and I had it on my window that I've worked on a lot of different brands over the years, some that had values that aligned with mine, some that didn't. It was all
Because
about
you were a
cash.
consultant at the
I
time,
was
so you were
yeah,
working with a
well, I
number
was
of
at
brands.
exactly. I was at a point in my career where it's like, well, I mean, I have this very set number of skills and I would rather focus my efforts on doing things that actually enrich people's lives, like, and I had that written on my window, like my goal in life is to create digital experiences that have a positive impact on people's lives. So that was
Mm.
my personal like thing that I was like, I was purpose that I was
You put
working.
this on your window or your mirror in your house.
It was in my mirror in my bedroom. I looked
Wow.
at it every
Okay.
day. And
Okay.
then, I guess the universe heard
You manifested it.
and it put this opportunity in front of me. Even prior to
Yeah.
that, the last company I'd worked for was a a pet health
Mm.
wellness brand that called Pretty Litter that's doing pretty well right now as well. So I just want to work on things that made life better, made life easier for people. So
Yeah.
that's
And honestly, coming from someone like you, a serial entrepreneur, you come to a point where you have choices. When you get started, you might
exactly.
have to take a lot of things to get your
Yep.
skills up, but then at some point you really have choices and you have to start to define,
Mhm.
your own brand, your own
Your
brand
personal
statement,
brand,
your
absolutely. Like
personal brand as an entrepreneur.
yeah, like what matters to you. And right now, I mean, on my LinkedIn profile, it says I live at the intersection of sustainability and commerce. Like those are things that matter to me. I understand, how to use the tactics of digital and now retail to drive
Mhm.
commerce, but sustainability in terms of lifestyle, doing good, being like all of those things like also matter to me personally. So from a
Mhm.
career perspective, the things that are exciting, interesting to me at the intersection of those two things.
So it makes sense, given your background, that you are co-founder and chief marketing officer of Real.
Correct.
All
Correct.
right.
So
Tell us about your family life outside of work. Do you have, you know, uh, do you have a family? Do you have a wife, kids?
I don't. I do have a girlfriend, but I don't have a. I'm not yet married. My Nigerian parents are not too happy about
You're busy your
that.
business right now.
Yeah, that's pretty much that's my primary focus right now.
But this is a good conversation though. We before the podcast started, we were talking about how yes, entrepreneurship is lonely and also that some of these days are so busy. It's actually great that you were able to find someone that you could start to build life with, because these when you're in the midst of, heavily building and growing, it's kind of hard to give yourself to anyone else, even though you want those relationships. It is hard because you're kind of sometimes bad at being
Yeah,
present for other people.
yeah, and it's
What
hard
has been
getting.
your experience with that?
Yeah, it's hard getting an entrepreneur. We're moody. We have crazy mood swings. There's like good and bad days. There's things
Yeah.
we can't explain. It's just, I mean, God bless her. She has a ton of patience. But I mean, I've had relationships, Phil, because it's hard. Like you said, I'm not present. I'm distracted with things that are going on with the business because that
Yeah.
really does consume a lot of your time and just your mind in general. So I mean, I think as I've gone older as well, obviously understand the importance. I won't say balance because to me work life balance is a myth. I don't think you can ever achieve that. It's just about shifting your focus from if you're working and just being available for prioritizing things that matter, right? Like I think
Right.
it's important. Like I know and I mean, it might sound very unemotional and very almost cold, but I
Mhm.
schedule things like I schedule time to call people. I make sure because
That's
if
the
it's
only way it's gonna happen, though. How many
yeah, if
times are we like, I'm gonna call you, and then it just
yeah,
night happens,
exactly.
hour happens, you forget.
If it's not on my I forget. I mean, I'm getting older. Like the memories aren't as sharp as it used to be. But I mean, if it's not on my calendar drives my day. So if it's
Yeah.
not, so I make sure I prioritize those things and I try to tune out of work when I'm doing family friend time and really make time for those things as well because otherwise I mean I've experienced burnout as an entrepreneur as well, which is a very
Hmm.
very real thing. So
Yeah.
it's very important to take it. Wellness matters a lot. And I think it's something you learn. It's probably because we grew up in a society where it's all about the grind and
Yep.
but you're gonna grind yourself to death if you don't watch out. So I mean, I think it's good to be hardworking, have good
Yeah.
work ethics, but you also have to take care of yourself. You have to
I
take care of
fully agree.
your mental, your physical, and you have to nurture the relationships that
Hmm.
matter in your life. So yeah.
Yeah. There's a couple things that really stand out to me about what you mentioned, and it leads me to really inquire about, you were growing in the thick of COVID, and, several entrepreneurs that we've talked to on Black on Shelf who are in your set of years, like 2 years in or 3 years in, they really had, a lot of great opportunities happen due to COVID, the pandemic, Black Lives Matter, all of those great things, but it also could have come at an expense. What was your experience as an entrepreneur during 2020?
I mean, it was a very interesting time, both as as a Black person and someone as a founder of a toilet paper brand. As a Black person, just obviously the big social justice awareness and the movement around that. It was advantageous to the brand having a Black co-founder, but it was
Toilet
also
paper was in demand too, so.
toilet paper was insanely in demand. It was a crazy, crazy thing, right? Like it's like, really, the world's about to end, and you people care about toilet paper. God bless you, but I think you should care about water and food more.
I mean,
But
the good thing is you were good to go. You were well stocked.
I was well stocked. My friends were well stocked. But going back to what we were talking about earlier about like our values, people over profit.
Yeah.
Obviously, we could have raised our prices. We could have taken advantage of the surge in demand, but we intentionally decided to keep our prices the same. We
Mhm.
prioritize the people who had always been there for us.
Yeah.
Um,
That
our,
loyalty is great,
yeah,
actually, that you did that.
our subscribers. So we reserved enough inventory to be able to make sure they got the replenishment orders before we sold to any
Mhm.
new customers, because we care about the community we build, and we like you're part of our family. We want to make sure it's toilet paper, but it was something everyone needed at that time. So
Definitely.
we didn't try to profit off of the situation, and we made sure our people were good. I mean, it did put a lot of pressure on the business. We ran out of stock. We had to step up production, but we learned a lot through the process.
Mhm.
And we learned about who we are as a team, the resilience of the small but mighty team we have, and it brought us closer together as a team, brought us closer together with our community as we tried to put out positive, encouraging messaging on our
Yeah.
social media. So yeah.
Yeah, we actually talked to about how, Derin, your team is actually international. So
Yeah.
talk about how what are some of the what are some of the sort of touch bases you all have to stay connected? I mean, I guess it's never been a better time than now because we are all virtual, but how does that work when you have an international team?
I mean, there's just we're able to leverage all the remote tools. I mean, we've always had an international team, so COVID just made that
Hmm.
more obvious. But if anything, it brought us closer together because everyone
Hmm.
was remote all the time. We actually we actually shut down our office. We don't have an
Okay.
office anymore, so we're
Ah.
completely remote.
Hmm.
At least the corporate side of it. We leverage, we use Slack. We're very active on Slack. We use Zoom. We use Google Meeting as well. We use all of those video conferencing
And the
tools.
time differences.
We try to make it work. Like I said, I had a super early start today to accommodate a team member who was in London. But for the most of the team is in LA. But we
Okay.
do have people in different time zones, so we try to make it work and find at least for the big meetings times that work
Hmm.
for
Yeah.
everyone's schedule. Yeah.
One thing I'm curious about is, so Real is all about sustainable toilet paper and paper towels. It's about zero compromise, no trees involved. Most of us may not understand exactly what that means or how that process works. Bamboo is definitely not a new material, but not familiar. People are not familiar. Educate us.
Yeah,
Bamboo,
definitely.
Real paper 101.
All
You
right,
go.
I will try. I will try my best. I'm not probably not the best teacher, but I'm just keeping it really simple.
Okay.
Most paper products are made from what's called virgin fiber, so it's
Okay.
old growth trees that are cut down. These are trees that take 30 plus years to regrow, that are cut down to make the soft, fluffy toilet paper a lot of people like.
Hmm.
Obviously, that's not sustainable. We need those trees in
Yeah.
our ecosystem to put out oxygen and absorb the harmful CO2 out there. I mean, this is driving a lot of climate change
Change.
issues and,
Yeah.
and, and all of that. So toilet paper is also an essential category. So from a
Hmm.
business perspective, it was a category that made sense for us to kind of look at, where we could bamboo paper isn't a new concept. It's
Right.
relatively new to the
You
US.
just reinvented it.
We just put a different spin on it,
Brand.
made it more accessible. So we're not,
Definitely.
I mean, with entrepreneurship, it's not always about creating something new. It might just be creating a different experience, making it more accessible. It's all about it's innovating in some way. So, but it's
Yeah.
not always about I have to design the next iPhone or whatever. Like
Right.
it's not. I think that's a misconception a lot of people have. It's about finding something and seeing if it can improve either how it's distributed, how it's made, or just innovate in some way. So I mean, we knew, obviously this is not sustainable. It doesn't make sense that we should be wiping our butts with something that takes 30 plus years to grow. Bamboo is a plant, it grows super fast, it goes 3 feet in 24 hours. It, it doesn't need a ton of effort for it to grow. And the fiber itself has really amazing characteristics. It's
Yeah.
strong and
Did you
soft.
say it grows 3 feet in 24 hours?
It does. It's
You
a
know what? It's taking me back to this. It's taking me back to this sermon about planted, not buried. And they were talking about how bamboo, you might have like a bamboo year where, you know, you can go from, and actually, literally, that's what happened to Real.
yeah.
You all grew like a shoot of bamboo.
We
That's the
did.
right
We did.
terminology, a shoot of bamboo.
Yeah. I,
Yeah, you
I'm
all grew like a shoot of bamboo. So
It's
growing
crazy.
3 feet, for reference, I'm 5'1". It took me 31 years to get here.
Yeah, bamboo
But
grows a lot.
bamboo can grow
Bamboo
so
grows,
much faster.
yeah,
That is so cool.
yeah. So that's one of the fun facts about bamboo. It's also,
Where does it grow?
the bamboo we use comes from China. Most of I mean, the getting to sustainability, and I know people have a lot of different conceptions uh, you know, about things that come from China specifically, but most of the commercial grade, like there's a there are three distinct technical processes from converting any kind of fiber into
Mhm.
paper, and most of the commercialization of that happens in China. Like it's super. You can do it here. It's just super capital intensive. It's going to cost at least $500 million to set up a
Mhm.
plan to do it, and
Yeah,
obviously that's a lot of capital, and that's not something we were positioned to be able to do.
right.
So when we talk about sustainability, for us, it's always trying to do better than we did yesterday.
Hmm.
It's not a destination. It's continuous improvement. It's iterative. It's, you know, today I used a piece of plastic. Tomorrow I'll try to use less plastic. It's not
Hmm.
always about, it's just trying to do better every day. So that's how we look at it in our personal lives and in our business as well. So our bamboo toilet paper and product are made in China right now, but we are looking at ways to, as we grow, to move that manufacturing and that production closer to home. So
Hmm.
we're reducing our carbon footprint, which is something we care deeply about. But
That's
we're not
important.
there. We're not there yet. It's a journey for us. So
Yeah.
so right now the product comes out of China. Uh,
Hmm.
we we have a really awesome manufacturing partner that builds to spec for us. We
Okay.
constantly iterating the product to improve it based on customer feedback. That's also the beauty of having a direct to consumer business like we started. You're able to ask people questions. They
Hmm.
tell you what they feel about the product, how you can improve it. So we take all of that and we pass that information along to our manufacturing partner, and they're able to improve the product. And we probably come out with 3 versions of our toilet paper since we launched, and we're about to come out
Oh,
with a fourth that's even softer. People
yeah.
might not know that, but yeah, we're constantly working on it, trying
Oh,
to
wow.
make the experience. Because we understand most people use Charmin and all that, and they're used to a certain level of softness, and a lot of people are not willing to sacrifice that.
Right.
Um,
And you probably
so,
got that from your research of talking to
yeah,
people and just
and
understanding what they like.
yeah, and just being toilet paper users ourselves, right? So we are customers
That's
as
what we're
well.
used to.
So we know they're saying non-negotiables for people. So we
Hmm.
wanna try to make that transition from tree-based paper to tree-free paper as seamless as possible. And that's where the zero compromise comes from
Right.
in our messaging is we're not compromising quality, because there's a lot of so-called eco-friendly or sustainable products that just
Mm-hmm.
feel they really not good to use. They don't feel good at all like
Wow.
when you wipe with them. So we tried from a product innovation, product development perspective to have a seamless transition from tree based to tree free. So,
One thing that I'm also, as in terms of like your journey as a brand, in terms of your brand origins, like you started off e-commerce space and something
correct.
happened this year, like you're now in Target, your first true retail, your first mass retailer. Talk to
Yep.
us about going from e-commerce to brick and mortar, and sort of what type of preparation that took, what adjustment that's taken for you guys. And I know you're going through it right now because you literally just got in the doors.
Yeah.
What has that been like?
I mean, our goal was always to be omni-channel. Like we
Yeah.
knew this was this is a commodity. I mean, this is a product people buy,
Mm-hmm.
on Amazon. They buy at grocery stores. They buy at, they buy at stores like Target. So
Yes.
we're always like, we're always gonna. Our plan was always to get there. We didn't think we are gonna get there this early in the journey,
Right?
but the plan was always to meet people where they were. Like even now, we still want to be in hotels, we want to be in restaurants, like
Mm.
we want to be in gyms, we want to be where people naturally go to the bathroom and use toilet paper. But all of those things are capital intensive, so you have to be strategic about how you approach it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Target as a brand or as a retailer made a lot of sense for us. I think the target customer is a lot more forward thinking.
Yeah.
They're more design, aesthetic oriented. They're more likely to try new things. So it
Mm-hmm.
made sense as a retailer for us for them to be our first retailer. The process. I mean, traditionally we would go to Target in Minnesota and pitch, but with
This year was
COVID,
a little different.
yeah, last year was a little different. With COVID, we did the pitch over Zoom, and
Wow.
I mean, I think our team did an amazing job pitching it and showing, really why we would, make a difference in that category at
Mm-hmm.
Target. And we had a lot of momentum on the D2C side that we're able to show in terms of sales, in terms of reviews, in terms of just people's sentiment about the brand, that the buyer for the category in Target like
Mm-hmm.
was, we got him excited about it, and he fortunately decided to give us a shot in 200 stores, and happy to report that it's off to an amazing start. Like
I'm
we,
so
we
excited for you.
yeah, thank you.
We are.
We exceeding our the initial forecast, and yeah, we're really excited about the launch so far. So
That's such a big deal, honestly. Like, particularly off of the year that we had. And now, again, at the beginning, we talked about how this was a category where you really didn't see a Black owned brand. And it is just so phenomenal that it's sustainable, it's Black owned. And now it's available very conveniently in retail. That's so
yeah,
exciting, because I think one of the barriers, you certainly had a lot of people that cared about sustainability and ordered online, and that also is the wave. And if anything, we've learned that is a great way to get our toilet paper. But in terms of driving trial and awareness, it's an amazing opportunity for you to be on shelf where people can learn about the brand, touch it, feel it, give it a try. Like that's
absolutely.
that's so undeniable.
Absolutely, and I think that's going to be a big part of our growth,
Mm-hmm.
and like you said, I mean, there's far more people buying toilet paper at retail than they are online.
Mm-hmm.
So it made sense for us to be there, and I'm super super humbled and just really really grateful for the opportunity to have kind of real. We are Target's first plastic free,
That's
um,
crazy.
like tree free brand they have on in their toilet paper set. And we kind of we're not the only sustainable paper brand out there, but we certainly set ourselves apart with some
Yeah.
of the moves we're making. So we are truly omni-channel now. You can purchase real
Purchase.
directly from us. You can purchase real on Amazon, and you can purchase real at some
Amazon, for
at,
those out there. Amazon.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So we're trying to be everywhere people are,
Mm-hmm.
where people buy paper products. So yeah.
That's amazing. I'm curious for you. So you are a serial entrepreneur. This is not your first rodeo at all, but talk about what are some of the milestones. I'm going to guess that Target is one of them, but what are
Yeah.
some of the other milestones for you in the business?
I mean, as a milestone definitely was retail launch. Launching our second product, our paper towel product, is a pretty big
So you,
milestone.
you start off with the toilet
Toilet paper
paper.
as our hero product.
Okay.
Then we introduced the paper towel product.
Okay.
Um, then we launched on Amazon, and
Okay.
we are currently, I think, one of the top 30 toilet paper brands on Amazon. Our goal is obviously to try to be number one. We're working on that. Target was big. We're in 200 doors at Target. We want to blow the projections they had for us off out of the water and get
Yes.
into more
So Boss
doors.
Fam, what we're saying is go and buy yours, and everybody,
Please go and
and if
buy.
you love it,
Real.
keep buying.
Tell a friend.
Stay
Tell a
pathetic.
friend to tell a friend. Yeah,
Tell a
please.
friend to tell a friend. Exactly.
Yeah.
Gift it if you'd like to.
Yeah, gift to roll. I think that's another thing as well. It's a bit challenging for us to trial this,
Yeah.
because we ship a box of 12, so it's
Yeah.
not sampling is challenging. So we encourage our customers to, if you buy a box, give one to someone. Most people like the story. They just want to make sure it's something that feels good. And 9 out of 10 times, I mean, there's always that one person that needs something extra plush,
Yeah.
and that's not real. Oh, that's not real, the brand, not.
Mhm.
I mean, whatever they
Real is
feel.
real is real, real.
Real,
Okay.
yeah. But we encourage people definitely, as much as you can, give out a roll,
Yeah.
let someone else experience it.
So
Yep.
your e-commerce pack and your Target one is a 12 count pack.
Our e-commerce pack is 24. We sell a
24.
pack on our site and on Amazon.
Mhm.
At Target, we have a retail pack of 12. So
Okay, Target is the 12 pack.
yeah.
On
And
e-commerce is 24.
yeah, we always looking, how we can expand that. So there might be additional pack sizes coming out in the future.
Yeah.
As we get more data and customer feedback. So.
Well, speaking of future, I am curious about what is the vision for Real, because it's certainly one of those platform brands that really energizes folks because it is around environmental, because it is an environmentally friendly brand. It is about sustainability. What does the future of Real look like? Are you going into different categories? Is it always going to be about paper? Have you all started? I'm sure you have. Tell us about what you've been thinking and projecting for the brand.
I mean, aspirationally, we want to be in personal care,
Okay.
but studying in paper,
Mm-hmm.
and I think there are obviously a ton more paper products we could add to our lineup, tissues and different configurations of even our existing pack, right? Like
Yeah.
we had talked about smaller sizes. Some people want unbleached versions of the paper. They're from a sustainability perspective, people had asked us about having a roll that did not have an inside core. So that's
Right.
something we experimenting with as well to reduce waste. And then, we want to expand obviously geographically as well. I mean, probably Canada makes sense for us to get into next. Probably go after UK and Europe after that. And, who knows? From a retail perspective, and we want to expand into Target, really nail that, and then look at other grocery and retail partners that make sense as well for us.
Yeah. So Derin, you definitely have your team. You and your team have a lot that you can be doing, and you've already accomplished a lot in so little time. I'm curious, as we talked about at the beginning, that you're a lifetime learner. Who have been some of your mentors, advisors during this time? Because it's not easy to emerge in a space that has so many like long-seated competitors.
Yeah, I mean, fortunately for us, I mean, technically speaking, some of our advisors came from, the paper, the
Kimberly
big,
Clarks of the world.
not to name names, but yeah, some of those, the Kimberly
Large
large conglomerates,
CPGs.
yeah, that sell toilet paper. Yeah, so we have a lot of inside technical know-how about how those processes work and how
Mhm.
we can continue to iterate and improve our product. So we're fortunate in that regard. For me personally, I have a network of other entrepreneurs
Mhm.
that I'm part of. So those are I those are my I mean I won't say mentors, but those are my confidants. Those are people I
Yeah.
talk to. We
Yeah.
share war stories. We help each other out. Um, Personally, my boss, real my boss at my first real job is still someone I talk to this day.
Oh, that's awesome.
Is my reference of a good boss.
Mhm.
So because he hired me at a time I was not at all qualified for the job I applied for, but he saw something in
He
me.
saw
So
something in you.
yeah, so he gave me my shot, and I tried to, you know, be that type of boss as well, where it's not obviously there are some positions that require a particular set of technical skills, but beyond that, like also just hunger, the other intangibles that matter. I mean, you can
Yeah.
always teach people skill like some of those technical skills, but there are other things you just have to be able to pick up on. Like, is this person going to persevere? Are they a right culture fit? Like, are they
Mhm.
going to do they even care about the values of the brand, right? Like, does this
Yeah.
person care about others, or are they in it for the cash? And
Mhm.
I mean, everyone wants to make money, but it you can make you can make money in a lot of different ways, and I think what
You
brings
want a
all of
certain
us
culture is what you're
yeah,
saying.
what brings all of us
Yeah.
together is that we believe you can make money while doing good as well. It's not you don't have to sacrifice that to make money. So
Definitely understand.
yeah,
Derin, how is that translated into the people you've hired to be a part of building this brand?
yeah. So my our current brand manager was started off as a marketing coordinator.
Okay.
Really had he didn't have any brand management experience, but we're a young brand. We probably couldn't afford to hire anyone who was a real brand manager, but this was someone who very early on like showed like he wanted the job no matter what. Like it was more aligned with the values of what we're trying to do. Like it was clear that he someone who went and did beach cleanups and things of that nature. So it lived
Mhm.
it lived those
They live the
values.
brand.
Yeah, they
Mhm.
live those values. So it was, it came down to him and someone who had more technical experience, but just did not seem like a culture fit. I went with the guy who did not have the technical experience, and probably one of the best hires I've made in my career, because he
Mhm.
is being promoted 2 times over the last couple of years, and he continues to just amaze and impress me with his dedication to the brand and just the level of care he has about the brand and he takes personal ownership of it as well. So
Yeah, that's always good to find. You need those people that
uh,
really, you
absolutely,
know, expand and extend the vision because they really take it on as their own and
yeah,
add that extra oomph that you really can't get for someone maybe just clocking in.
exactly. It has to. I mean, especially for I think the type of people who are attracted to startups in general usually have to believe either in the founder or the mission of the brand, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Mhm. I'm curious about when you think when you all are new. Real isn't not new, right? They're still in startup phase. You're
yeah,
definitely getting
we're definitely a
distribution.
startup. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, to be clear, we're still a startup. I feel it,
We're definitely
right?
a
You're
startup.
getting some significant wins happening. Talk to me about how the consumer that you thought of at the beginning, whether that is the same person you're talking to now, and what that discovery process has looked like.
I mean, we always knew there was this. I mean, like sustainability is kind of being driven by millennials and Gen Zers, right? Like they're the
Yeah.
ones at the forefront from an activist perspective. So we always knew that was an audience wanting to go after, but what we did not really think about at the time was how much they were influencing their parents to change their habits as well. So what we learned very quickly, just and feedback from customers when we ask, if you ever purchase Real online, there's an email that comes from me that asks, why did you buy Real? And I try to respond to all of it. I can't. There's like thousands that come in, but I try to respond to as many of them as I can. But I learn a lot from it. And one of the things we learned was that parents, grandparents, like the kids, are really pushing them to
Mm.
make sustainable changes, like, and they're like, yeah, my daughter told me about your brand. My daughter is an eco warrior, and she like insisted I buy real, and I
Word
tried
of
it,
mouth is so
and I
strong.
and I even beyond word of mouth, they change in behavior, right? Like
Yeah.
they
No, the word
so
of mouth to actually influence that type of purchase,
absolutely,
because they're like, my daughter is telling
yeah,
me I need to do this. You know, maybe they're
absolutely,
saying eat this and buy this, and that is enough. That was like the impetus to stimulate that purchase
absolutely, absolutely,
and
and
remove the
I,
barriers that might have existed.
absolutely, and I mean, I cannot, say enough good things about word of mouth marketing. We wouldn't be where we are right now without that. And the power of like someone and trust recommending something like is better than any marketing campaign anyone could ever put together. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of power in that. So yeah, I mean that was an older demographic. I mean people over 55 were not an audience we thought would
Mm,
would resonate with this, but even in our marketing date, like that particular cohort of customers or demographic, like is really strong for us.
yeah.
So fortunately, we have a brand. The brand aesthetic is generational,
I
cross
love the brand
generational.
aesthetic, by the way.
Thank
It
you,
is
thank
so clean. It's
you.
so simple. Yeah.
Yeah.
How did you talk to us about the design process if you were involved?
I was. We worked with an amazing branding agency. Who were also fortunately for us partners in the brand. So
Yeah.
they are investors in it, and it's a company called JKR out of London.
Hmm.
They do amazing work, and I think the brand identity work they did for us was far large one of the best I've seen. Like even the logo that looks like a roll of paper, like it's
Yeah.
it's it's really really amazing. But we always wanted something minimalist, something we didn't want something that was too bright or loud. We knew the category we were in. We didn't want to leverage any taller humor or anything like that. We wanted to be an elevated brand in a brand that was still or so there's extremes on there's two extreme ends of like the top paper category. There's brands that are really old and stale, and then there are brands that are trying too hard to be cool,
Hmm.
with the colors and even some of the party humor. We want it to be something that appealed to almost everyone on that spectrum. So the design, the color palettes, the simplicity of our design, even our message and everything is
Yeah.
kind of promoting positivity. We're trying to educate people to be better, but we're doing it in a tone that is more encouraging, like your best friend telling you, "Come on, let's go," as
Yeah.
opposed to someone telling you you fucked up and you need to, you need to, yeah. So we're very careful about how we talk and how we position ourselves. It means a lot to us.
Yeah. How have you leveraged influencer marketing to really grow on social media? You have quite a following, I think over 30,000 at this point.
Yeah, close to 30,000. I mean, influencers to me, extension of word of mouth, right? Like people will follow certain influencers, trust what they say.
Mhm.
They believe them when they recommend products. So we certainly have a pretty active network of influencers, community of influencers we work with, primarily in sustainability, expanding that into
Right.
Target, now that we're in Target
Hmm.
and other niches within the influencer community. But that was part of our strategy from day one as to how we're going to grow the brand. So
Yeah. You're such an experienced entrepreneur. I want to make sure we leave some gems for the Black on Shelf family and who it really comprises of other entrepreneurs like you and those who are, working on emerging brands. It's those who are thinking about it and really inspired by the stories they're hearing from entrepreneurs to say, man, maybe I should really give more attention to something I'm working on, believe in myself and bring it to life. Let's talk about some of the advice you can give someone new to brand building, new to starting a business, and some of the decisions they should think about. What's some of the advice you would give to new entrepreneurs?
I'll just say, just try and prove out your idea as quickly as you can. See if there's a market for it, and I don't think you have to spend a ton of dollars to prove that. I think that's where a lot of people get hung up is, oh, I have to, like, you just want to prove that there's a viable market for this. So, you know, you have your hypothesis of here's like you either have to be trying to solve a problem or you have to be trying to entertain people. Like those are kind of the
Two
things
main
that
spaces.
the two spaces, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like, so think clearly about the problem you're trying to solve. Make sure it's something. It always shows when you're passionate about it versus if you're not. Do your homework, do your due diligence, understand who you're going to be competing against, what they're currently doing. There's a ton of free market research out there. If I would advise spending any dollars, it will be maybe paying to get some more market research so you understand the size of the
Right.
market you want to go
Mm-hmm.
after, because you don't want to invest a lot of time and energy in something that's too niche. And I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, depending on what type of entrepreneur you want to be. Do you want to be a lifestyle entrepreneur where you're just
Right.
trying to build something as passive income, or do you want to build something big and massive? So you have to decide
Yeah.
what kind of entrepreneur you want to be. When we're trying to build something
Yeah.
truly massive, we're trying to disrupt a category, right? So we want to be the next reference brand in toilet paper. Like that's
Yeah. Which is a
aspiration.
big, it's a
It's a
big
big
goal and you're gonna get
audacious,
there.
it's a big audacious
Yeah, but
goal.
by highlighting that goal, you move differently than if this is a passive income brand.
Yeah, like if you said
Nothing wrong with that, but it's a
no,
decision, is what you're
yeah,
saying.
like
And
yeah,
I'm really
exactly.
glad you mentioned that because
Yeah,
I think uh, we are seeing statistics on how Black women especially are the number one growing um, segment of entrepreneurs. They're starting the most businesses. They're going to school more often than other people. One thing that's now going to separate us in terms of our ability to really build wealth is to make that decision, right? Are we going to build brands that shift categories and really drive profit? It's just a decision. One's not better than the other.
no, it's
Or
not.
are you building something that you want to be a lifestyle business for yourself? Both, you can take a lot of pride in both. Both are amazing. Both bring you income, give you skills, but it is a decision on, where you're going to end up and what
Yeah,
type of work goes into it.
exactly. The level of both require different levels of commitment. Like,
Mm-hmm.
like it's probably easier to have a lifestyle brand and maintain good familial relationships. And I mean, so depending on which
Darren
kind
is scarred. He's like, you don't have time. This is what he's telling everybody.
you don't, it's so time consuming. So I mean, you have to, those are questions you truly have to have with yourself. Like,
Yeah.
are you going to be able to commit the amount of time it requires to and dedication to get this thing off the ground? And again, it's not like you said, it's either the direction isn't wrong. I mean,
Right.
just going after your passion and going after something you believe in is always a good move.
Mm-hmm.
And I just encourage people to put the fear behind, like try and move past the fear and just go for it. Like worst, and you try to mitigate and limit the financial risk, but for the most part, like you have more to gain than to lose. Every time you kind of make an entrepreneurial bet, like you're betting on yourself for the most part. The
Mm-hmm.
Usually the upside is greater than the risk, but I think a lot of us get hung up on the what ifs, like, or what if, like, why not? Like I try to focus. I mean, obviously I fall into the what if traps as well, like, and
Yeah.
like you imagine the worst case scenarios, but it's, what if everything goes right? Like what, like you got to think that way sometimes too. So
That's good to hear that, even you still have to battle that, but you
oh,
find your way,
absolutely.
you find your way back to the what if possible, what if this is possible, what if
Yeah,
what if this is abundant, what if this comes to me, what if the things go right,
yeah,
spending more time focused on how to enable that versus
yeah.
getting stuck in the the fears of the thing and the doubts of it all.
Yeah, and I think as an entrepreneur, you constantly, I mean, you try to mitigate the risk and increase the upside, right? Like that's the game, right? Like you constantly, okay, even when I come up with the what ifs, then I'm like, okay, what if it does happen? Then I that forces you to come up with a solution for
Yeah,
how
how
you
do you
would move.
protect yourself from that risk?
Yeah, or how would I deal with it if this actually happened? How would I resolve this issue, even if the chances of it becoming a reality are low, but if it does happen, how do I move around it? So
I like that. What other advice did you have for the boss fam thinking about starting a business or Yeah, let's keep it at the ones in early stage, because I think that this is the group that needs the most encouragement one way or another.
Definitely talk to other entrepreneurs. I think a lot of people read books and or stories, and it's always just they see the successes, right? Like, and they don't see they see the sausage, they don't see what goes into making it. So I think you just have. I'm not trying to scare anyone. I just think you have to know what you're getting yourself into.
Derin with the dose of realness. That's going to be his next podcast when he has some time after he gets, after he retires from all this. Derin with the dose of realness.
I'll keep it a buck with everyone. Like, you have to know what you get. Like any situation, right? Like, you should at least be mentally prepared for what you're about to step into. And if you're not prepared, then it's going to be jarring. Even if you are prepared, there's still going to be some things you don't anticipate, but you just have to be, to know it's going to take a lot of resilience and persistence and your belief in what you're trying to do and to kind of push through. So
Yeah.
and rely on family, take excellent care of yourself, like wellness matters. I couldn't say that enough.
I love that you're preaching this.
I've been burnt out, so I know what that feels like. So just make sure even if it's meditating, take walks, drink water, just take care of yourself. Like, your business needs you to be healthy. Like, you can't run a good business as an unhealthy entrepreneur. So
yeah. On that matter, do you take vacation? You as an entrepreneur, do you take a vacation?
I don't take long vacations, but I do take short, like, weekend trips. Like, that's my jam. Like, I prefer that over like 2 weeks
right
somewhere, because
the business needs you so much right now.
It's not even that. It's just I'll be bored. Like,
you love this job. You don't necessarily need a vacation. You are burnt out sometimes.
It's not even about the job. There's just other things. I mean, besides the job, I have other interests. Like, I do try keep healthy and do other things as well. But like, I try to take as many short trips as I can, and every once in a while I'll take a long vacation.
So COVID must have been difficult, not necessarily being able to take as many of those.
I still did.
Okay. Where did you go? That was fun.
I mean, I live in LA. I was able to drive up the coast. I have family in Santa Barbara, so I still got to take little trips to Palm Springs and just
Springs.
Yeah, weekend getaways are my jam. Like, it just recharges me. I think if I was gone for more than a week, I would feel a lot of anxiety and I wouldn't be able to relax. So yeah. So
no,
I mean, again,
great.
it's about knowing yourself, right? So I think that's probably the bottom line for what I'll tell every entrepreneur is, like, it's going to be a discovery process. You're going to learn so much about yourself, like becoming an entrepreneur, and you just got to embrace all of it. Like, even the things you don't like about yourself, some of them you can change, some of them you just have to accept, like, this is who I am and this is how I am, and just roll with it.
Yeah. We're going to get one question in for mature entrepreneurs. And those, like, with businesses that are sort of reaching a pivotal point where they're becoming mature or they're needing some investment for growth. Talk about your journey of getting investment for the company. Was this your first time having to raise funds? And what are some of the experiences that went into that, preparing? This is the side people don't always see. We just hear on the other side, oh, this person got X amount of investment, or this brand got X amount of investment. And there's not a lot of visibility to what is behind that. Can you share a little bit about, like, what is it behind the scenes?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's always, again, it goes back to understanding the type of business the type of entrepreneurial journey or business you're trying to start. Some are super capital intensive. They are all time intensive. But some are just very capital intensive as well. So for those, you probably need VC funding, because
venture capital funding for those that don't know the VC. We're just gonna make sure everybody knows, but you're good. VC venture capital.
Versus just raising, like family and friends round. Maybe you get some of your friends to put in 100,000 to kind of get you started or whatever. For us, we haven't raised what's called an institutional round yet, so we're getting ready to raise a Series A round. So we are going to try to raise, about 10 million and that's really going to be to accelerate the growth of everything we're doing, because
The goal is to be a household name.
exactly, we need to stock up on inventory, like we need to build up the team and everything else we need to do. So far, I mean, we probably raised, I don't know, like a couple, maybe 3 million from what's called it's essentially a seed round, but like from
Convertible note.
family offices, smaller invest high network individuals. So those are that's kind of what's made the majority of our funding right now.
Talk to the boss fam on, like, you get a great opportunity, you realize, oh, getting into retail is expensive. Like we did talk about, people to know that, like, you don't just get on the shelf, you have to have the inventory and the systems to power being on shelf.
Yep.
Who did you have to bring in to go about the process of getting this investment? I'm trying to help folks understand some of these pieces that are not as visible, but they can start thinking about and reading about, learning about, so that when their businesses start to scale, they are more prepared.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good. I mean, Real was lucky, and again, just speaking about the power of partnership and complementary skills. Livio, my business partner, very well versed in fundraising. He had raised a ton. He started another brand called Hippies that he got to.
Hippies, like the snack brand.
Yep.
So I know it. Yes.
Yeah. So Livio is the founder of Hippies. So
that's awesome.
He understood the process.
Very experienced in CPG.
He's very experienced in CPG, very experienced in fundraising. I've always been part of putting together the materials for fundraising. But this again, it's always about learning. I'm a lot more involved this go around at Real. So I'm part of the conversation as we talk to potential investors and giving investor updates. It's about, when you first, it's always for friends and family first. And then you get some traction going, some momentum, and then you tell them the story of the brand. And it's like you had brought up a good point about milestones, like you raise enough money to get you to the next milestone. And along the way, you want to make sure that the next round of investors that come in, the valuation of the company is higher than it was by the when you raised the last round. So it's always
so you can show that you made progress.
Like there's a viable business here, like it's worth investing in, and you want to continue to show that growth trajectory, both in terms of revenue, but also in terms of a path to profitability. Not all businesses are going to be profitable. Most businesses are not profitable day one, right? So it's like that's why you bring in outside capital, because you need to bridge that gap. Like we need to cover operational expenses, capital purchase, inventory purchases, all of that. We'll probably lose money for the first 2 years, but then you'll
start to get it back.
We'll grow pretty quickly after that. So, most seasoned investors, institutional investors understand that bet. So it's just a matter of, obviously having the network to be able to get in front of those VCs and those people. But the good news is those people are also always looking for deals. So they have capital they need to deploy, because that's how they make money as well. So there's associated to these firms who constantly, keeping up with the news and what's going on. So that's where the power press comes in. You want to, as much as you can,
news,
get press out there, get your name out there, because that's how a lot of these people are hearing about the cool and emerging things as well. So
and really that's where your customer base comes into play, because that they really make the business in a lot of ways. Like their demand and their interest in what you have to offer is really what propels that news, and it shows that this is something super viable.
Either that, or if you have, or just you leverage whatever assets you have, right? So if you're a thought leader in a category, jump on podcasts, like do those type of things. Right?
Like, get the word out.
Anything that's telling the story of the brand, like those are the types of ways you generate awareness about the brand and potentially interest. And and then from there it's really about creating excitement for the brand, even if you
Yeah.
don't have big numbers. It's about selling the potential of where you could go. So
Right. That's the other thing. Sometimes it is about a vision. It is about something unique that others really just have to buy into to
yeah,
help you get that vision to life. So there's a number of ways it can be done, is what we're trying to
yeah.
paint the picture for you all today.
Yeah, and most most seasoned investors, beyond just the business opportunity, also invest in the team. Like they want
Right.
to make sure, is this, like, the idea might be great, the opportunity might be great, but at this the set of people that can actually make it a reality. So
That's another good point.
they
Yeah.
care
You
really.
invest in the people behind the brand just as much as you invest in the brand itself.
Absolutely, more. I think the people are
More,
even more
more.
important than the opportunity. Yeah,
Yeah, I agree. So
yeah.
this has been a really great conversation for sure, taking us from your background to the brand origins, the milestones, the myths, the highs and the
Take
lows.
care of yourself.
Take care of yourself. What has happened, Derin? Why are you preaching this so much? No, it's
I
honestly
just
so important. After 2020, we all know how important it is to take care of ourselves.
I mean, I think for me personally, I just lost my dad not too long ago, so it just puts
We are sorry about that.
thank you. It just puts things in perspective, like what the things that matter. Like none of this matters if you're not
Mm,
around, or if your health's suffering. So it's just important to prioritize that
yeah.
always. So
So,
yeah.
what's some of your favorite self-care tips for your or hacks for yourself? What are some of the things you enjoy doing to that luxuriate you or that make you feel your healthiest, your best, your most positive?
For me, like just practicing mindfulness. I like to start my day with a clear head.
Hmm.
So I fortunately live close to the beach, so I'm able to walk in the mornings. Just
Yeah.
get my day started that way. Getting older now, things are getting tighter, so stretching and making
Hmm.
sure mobility is still there is important. Like I said, even through all the scheduling, making sure you schedule time for friends and family, just
Yeah.
being able to be free of the work stuff and be around people who care about you, like not because they need anything from you, that you can laugh freely around and be yourself around and just be
Hmm.
relaxed around. Like we
Yeah.
all carry, as an entrepreneur, you carry so much stress every day, and it's important to just be able to
Yeah.
find avenues and time to de-stress.
Yeah. Darren, do you journal or are you spiritual in any way?
I journal when, I mean, I fall on and off of it, but I do believe in journaling. I think it's a great way to clear your head before you go to sleep. Otherwise, there's always things that are bubbling up and
Hmm.
make you not sleep properly. So I use journaling for that, to just kind of close the day.
Yeah.
But I fall off of it so many times. Well, one thing I've also learned is it's not about how many times you fall off. Just just
Yeah.
start
It's
again,
a
start from
tool
where
that
you,
you
yeah,
have it and
yeah.
when you need to.
Whenever you're ready to get back to it. So yeah.
Yeah. So we're gonna dedicate this episode to your father, and I'm
Thank
curious
you.
if he was aware. Does he know that you were doing real before he passed?
Fortunately, it passed before we got into Target, so I was not able
Wow.
to see that milestone. But yeah, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yes, we're gonna dedicate. I'm sure he is very proud of you,
Thank you.
and you are definitely leaving a legacy for your family through this business. So that's another important piece about that's another exciting piece about being Black on Shelf. It really also tends to be about these milestones we make within our families and the legacy we create because of what our family has done before, what they instilled, whether it was
Absolutely.
positive or negative, and it some way sharpened us to get to this point. So that is
Absolutely.
a lot to be proud of. I love to
Thank you.
end the episode with asking, what does being Black on Shelf mean to you?
I mean, it means everything. I think it means just showing the people behind that it's possible, right? Like it just means, like, just like, I mean, I'm not equating this to when Obama became president, but just that possibility can be realized. It's not
Hmm.
it's not an impossible goal. It takes a lot of hard work. It takes a lot of tenacity, but it's certainly achievable. And I'm glad to be among this, kind of small, hopefully gets bigger group of
Hmm.
Black founders that were successfully able to get the product on shelves like Target. So
yeah. And we definitely admire, the fact that you all are paving the way and inspiring us in those ways, making it possible. Sometimes that's all you need to see to be triggered to say, all right, head down, I'm going to go do this.
yeah.
Where can the Boss Fam follow Reels? Give us some information so that we can be a part of your community.
Yeah, we're pretty active on Instagram. Check us out at Real Paper, REEL. Also realpaper.com, our website. We publish a blog post every week. So we try to inform, educate about what's going on in the world of sustainability. We also promote other Black founded brands and sustainability focused brands as much as we can.
I love that.
Check us out. We also on TikTok.
Oh, really?
We're trying to be everywhere. Where else are we? Yeah, I think Instagram is probably the best way to get in touch with us.
And follow Derin on LinkedIn, because we're not going to let him be this hidden guy. Go ahead and follow him and show him some love too.
Yeah, I finally put up an Instagram page. My brand manager forced me to. So yeah, I guess you can follow me on Instagram.
Follow Derin on Instagram and on LinkedIn. Tell them where to follow you. What is your handle? We're going to follow you.
All right, my Instagram is Derin Oyekan. That's DERIN OYEKAN.
Yes. Awesome. So we're excited. Again, we admire you for doing this. We love to see a sustainable brand in this space. There's a few that I can think of, but this one is awesome. You're definitely the first one in personal care in this way, toilet paper and paper towels. We will be supporting you indeed, and looking forward to your continued success.
Thank you very much. And thanks for having me on. Congratulations again on the podcast. And
thank you.
Hopefully I can maybe join a panel one day you have.
Oh, absolutely. I'd love to have you on an episode of The Checkout, because, your background is just so amazing for being able to not just talk about this category, but really marketing in general and consulting, that this was your bread and butter before Reels. Yeah. So I'd love to have you, continue to stay in the loop here and help foster relationships with the Boss Fam as they, try to follow behind what you've been doing.
Well, I appreciate that. And I, definitely would love to come back on any time. So
we will definitely be having you at your next milestone for some updates and in between.
All right.